Australian explorers Burke and Wills, 1860 to 1861. Many early settlers continued arriving in Australia from England. Most of these people either went to New South Wales or Victoria. Australia is a big place. Some people wanted to explore and find other places to live. There were many brave explorers back in those days, but perhaps the most famous were Robert Burke and William Wills. They wanted to follow other adventurers by exploring inner Australia. The plan was to travel north from Melbourne up to the Gulf of Carpentaria in Queensland and back. It might take up to 2 years. Robert Burke and William Wills led a team of 19 people, and the journey began from Melbourne on the 20th of August 1860. They took lots of supplies with them. It would be a slow trip. They were quite lucky on their way to the Gulf. The weather was kind to them. Even though the days were hot, the explorers found plenty of spare water along the way, and they were helped by local Aborigines as well. Some men gave up on the journey and others were fired. Burke, Wills, and their now smaller team finally arrived at the Flinders River on 9th February 1861. Now it was time to return back home, but there were big problems. They only had enough food and water for 27 days. Also, it was getting hotter and hotter. There were many arguments, terrible plans and decisions made, men getting very sick, most dying as well. In the end, there were only 3 left, Burke, Wills, and a man named John King. They were a long way from home in the middle of nowhere. In the end, it was Robert Burke who perhaps made the biggest mistake when he fired his gun in fear at some Aborigines who could have helped the men survive. Instead, the sound of the gun made them all run away. Burke and Wills died at Cooper Creek within days of each other between 28th of June to the 1st of July 1861. John King was lucky. He stayed alive only because he was helped by the Aborigines. If only Burke and Wills had been more trusting, they might have also survived. Today we remember Burke and Wills as 2 of our most famous Australian explorers. You can find a memorial statue to them on the corner of Collins and Swanson Street in Melbourne.